Hi everybody, it's Tamara again from Etceteraise, and I'm going to show you another spool knitting stitch today. And it's just as easy as the first one, but it's going to give you just a slightly different pattern in the end. So to start out, you're going to start exactly the same way we did with the first one. And you're just going to go in and out of all of your sections. And you can see I'm using my store-bought spool knitter because I gave my homemade one away. And this one I think has 18 sections on it, but whatever you have is going to work just fine. And I'm going to, instead of, you can still use this to make a scarf if you like, but I'm going to try something a little bit different. And I'm going to make a tube, and then I'm going to make it into a toque, because it's very cold here in Saskatchewan, and my head and my ears get very cold when I walk to work, so I thought this might help me. So you can see I just did one loop around, and then I came back, and so it's all like figure eights around each of the sections. So the one thing different on this pattern is that we're going to use every section. On the last one we just used every second one, right? But this one we're going to stitch on every section. So what you're going to do, this might be hard to see, but I'm going to try and show you. I looped around the first section. I'm starting my first stitch here on number 2. And I'm pulling a little loop of thread up from the, I always do that, I call it thread, wool. Pull a little loop of wool up from the bottom, and then you're going to pull that whole piece up, and then the loop goes in front of the section. So I'm going to show you a few more times because I know my fingers are getting in the way here, but hopefully you can, or maybe if I tip it forward you can see. So I'm looping the wool up from the bottom, and then the whole piece goes to the back, and the loop is what goes to the front. And so I didn't skip any sections, I just went to the next one, and I'm going to do that again here. And as you get used to it, this gets a little faster and faster. And the nice thing about this one is that you don't have to keep track of what section you're on. You can just keep going. Although, if you want a variation, and once you get comfortable with this, what you can do is do sort of 2 sections in the basic stitch and then 2 sections in this stitch, and then alternate, and then you get a sort of a ridged effect on your piece that comes out of the bottom. So that's kind of fun, and that gives you something different. So I'm just going to keep going around here because I have so many sections on this one. This is going to take me a little bit of time. And you remember to try and keep it a little bit loose, because if you pull it too tightly, your tension's just going to get really tight and you're not going to be able to pull your wool up easily. So just keep an eye on that if you can remember, and that'll help make things a lot easier for you. And it's going to seem loose on this first row, but as you get going, if you remember from the first one we did, it starts to tighten itself up to a nice tension. Okay, so I'm on the last section. Remember I said I'm going to make a tube with this one. I could just go back and go backwards now and do each section again, but I want to try something a little different. You can see my tail is still sticking out here, and that's okay, I can just leave that. But this is section number 1, and instead of going back, I'm just going to keep going right along. And that will create a circle. And then I just keep going around and around and around until I get the length that I want. So what I'm going to do is keep going, and I'll pause the video and I'll come back when I'm closer to the end. And I'm not going to show you how to do all the basic stuff like casting off and all that and stitching, because I think you guys know how to do that. But I'll just show you what in the end, hopefully this will work out, and I'll show you what I'm going to create, and hopefully it'll give you some other ideas of other things that you can make. So I'll be back in a second, and through the magic of video, I should have an almost finished project.